Hello, lovely people. This is The General. You know, I always bring you exclusive content. Today, we have a very wonderful person, an amazing person. I don't want to be too formal with him, but you know how it is. This is your time with The General, and this is brought to you by The General's World. Today, we are having a topic which is sensational. But before I go into it, let me welcome my guest on the show, Papa Ako. Welcome, sir.
Thank you for having me. I mean, it's been a while. I know we've been trying to put this together, but
yes, for that, yes. It's been back and forth. It's always on my side. The mistakes are always on my side. So for that one, it's my fault. Yes, but today we have him here. So everything we have been waiting for, he's about to give us knowledge in depth of why we are here. So welcome once again.
Thank you.
Let's delve right into it. We want to speak about self-growth.
Okay.
And we don't want to limit just self-growth to a human being trying to grow, but physically, mentally, emotionally, and psychologically. That is what we want to talk about. It's something that's in our culture, it's being ignored a lot of the times. And I don't know if it's because of how we were raised or where we found ourselves. But just a small number of people take they take care of that, or they are cautious of it. Because like your mom asking you, my son, how was work? How is life? And all those kind of things. It doesn't happen. But to you, personally, how would you define self-growth?
Okay. Well, before we even delve into how I would define self-growth, you said something about physically, mentally, emotionally. First, one thing I want to start off with, physically. If you want to grow physically, eat your vegetables and drink milk. You'll grow.
That's a gist.
This is for the younger ones out there. I mean, of course, adults, please stop drinking milk. There's no point. Okay. Well, so self-growth, right? I think there's something that I tell my own son every day. The goal is always to be better than you were yesterday.
Perfect.
And for me, that is self-growth. Constantly improving upon yourself, right? If you take a look at yourself a year ago, what were your capabilities? What were your skills? What was your attitude? And you compare it to where you are today, in your own estimation and in the estimation of society as well, of course, are you better than you were at the same point last year? And if you can say yes, you have grown. And that's, for me, is the simple way I look at what self-growth is.
That's quite simple. And I know we are going to delve deeply into it.
Yeah.
But I always tell myself that I don't want to feel like I'm in a competition with anybody.
Yeah.
Because that's where we look down upon ourselves. So sometimes I measure my yesterday with my today and my today with my tomorrow.
Exactly.
As simple as that.
Yeah, again, simply put, right? Because you cannot measure your self-growth when you're looking at other people. Their journey is different from yours. So again, like I said, look at yourself yesterday, look at yourself last year, and you're comparing to yourself. You're not comparing to what Kwekwajiman has done or what Cristiano Ronaldo is doing on
but you can
pitch.
Admire somebody's progress.
You can admire people's progress. You can admire everybody else in the world's progress. That doesn't make you grow.
Okay.
That is not what growth is about. Wherever they were and they have moved, that is their growth. That's not yours. So the growth is comparing to yourself and not to others necessarily.
Okay. So one very important question I would be focusing on. This is a question I really want us to go in depth into it. Does family and our society or our environment shape a human's growth?
Well, to the extent that, man by nature is gregarious, meaning we always need to find ourselves in the company of others, right? We were not created by nature to be loners. So we always find ourselves in groups. You see people trying to identify, oh, I'm from this tribe, or I'm from this group. Even when you go to secondary school, we form groups. Oh, I'm a sportsman. I do. Yeah. Because in our very nature, we need to belong. Now, that belonging, every group, every tribe, every sect, every faction has certain attributes, certain skills they develop, certain things that they prioritize. So if you find yourself in those groups, you naturally tend to follow certain things. Let me give you a bit of a funny example. If you find people who grew up along the coast, on the beach.
I grew up along the coast. I was born in Jamestown. So.
Okay, good. Perfect. Typically, you find that they have very loud voices.
Yeah.
And it's you think, oh, is it that they were all born with the same genetic code to have loud? No. But you grow up in an environment that forces you to speak up because there's a lot of sound, and if you don't speak up, people
wouldn't hear you.
Because of the waves, people won't hear you. Now that person goes elsewhere, meets another group of people who come from very soft-spoken, places. To the soft-spoken person, it's like, this person is really loud. That person doesn't see that he or she is loud.
Yeah,
that's
used to the situation.
Yes, that his environment has shaped. If you grow up among thieves, thievery is normal. It's like I'm not doing anything out of the ordinary. If you grow up among people who spend 18 hours of the day in church, if you don't go to church for 2 hours, you feel like there's something missing. So yes, the family you grew up in, the environment you grew up in, that is like fundamental, right? In the way you behave. It is fundamental in the way you see yourself progressing in life, right? And that has a significant impact on what we call self-growth. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I mostly where I grew up, let's say Jamestown. I mean that place is the opposite of what the world thinks. I was born in a place where evil is being rewarded and good is seen as weak. So in this place, you don't have to be soft. You don't have to be weak. Otherwise, people will trample upon you. People will feel like they'll just walk upon you. So growing up in an environment like this was how I saw the world. You either eat or you're eating.
Yeah.
So I think where people grow, how people are trained in their daily lives also shape them. It affects your life. If I had not left Jamestown at a young age, I don't think we'll be sitting here having this conversation, to be frank.
Fine. Which will bring me to another point a bit later on. Or maybe let me just say, part of it, right, or part of growing is we learn, we unlearn, and relearn other things.
Okay.
Right? So yes, you grew up in Jamestown. Look, you are attributing it to the fact that you left Jamestown early. And I can assure you that there'll be people who have lived their whole lives in Jamestown, but have taken on that intentionality of trying to unlearn some of the things that they were brought up in, and have relearned other things, and are doing totally different from what would be expected.
But a small number of people.
Because it's only a small number of people who are really intentional about these things. And that's the unfortunate truth, right? A lot of us let life happen to us instead of living life. And
that's deep.
Right.
We allow life happen to us instead of living the life. Can you
For me, it's all about intentionality and discipline, right? You need to be intentional about it. You need to think about it. You were talking about people you admire. So you've seen Daniel Kwao, right? You've seen the general. Wow, I really admire how this guy does his things. I really want to one day own a podcast of my own, host a podcast of my own. You need to take steps to get there. Daniel didn't wake up, get born, and I'm starting a podcast. He
One
took
day.
steps, right?
Yeah.
He took steps. It didn't come and meet him along the way.
No.
So if you want to grow in that direction, if this is what you want to do, you need to take a conscious decision. This is what I want to do. What are the steps I need to take? Maybe now I'm in secondary school. Okay, what do I need to do? I need to study hard, finish my secondary school, pass my exams, maybe move on to tertiary education or find something to do, start working, save up, start buying equipment, start practicing, start going for these classes to learn how to talk properly.
Yeah.
Things like that. You can be anything you want in this world if you're intentional about it. You can grow into anything you want to be if you're intentional about it. As opposed to a lot of us saying, when I went to school, I really wanted to become a doctor, but when I got admission to Legon, they gave me psychology and odontology, so that's what I'm doing. You can still, people switch careers, switch courses all the time by being intentional. If you allow life to happen to you, life will happen to you. But if you want to live life, you need to be intentional
about it. I think, let me chip in this. While I was starting all this, I was starting the podcasting, and I really fell in love with listening to the likes of Jay Shetty, Les Brown, Inky Johnson, a lot of them. I wanted to do it, but I was working in a cafe. And every morning when I go, is that I'll watch the motivational speeches or their podcast and all that.
Yeah.
Or I'll watch wrestling, and my boss keep monitoring me. So he came to me one day and was like, Daniel, you have internet here. This is a cafe. You have everything at your disposal. Yes. Why don't you start something? But I was like,
I'm not there yet.
Like, I've told my boss that I need some things. And he's like, he has just ignored. So I went to him and I told him that I have dreams. It's not like I don't have any dream. But I need this, I need that. He just started laughing at me. I was like, why is he laughing? But he said something to me that changed my perspective. He changed everything about me. He said, Daniel, if you are waiting to get everything in line or figure everything up before starting, you will never live life. And I was so angry I left the office. I was angry. Like, I was like,
this is what we call the folly of youth. Yes.
I was like, no, you are just trying to make a mockery of me. I've asked you for computer, I've asked you for this, and you are not giving me a bag. But when I got to the gate of the workplace, while I was about to leave, I started thinking about it. I was like, this man is right. And the funny thing is that you might get everything at your disposal and you will still not start it.
Mm-hmm.
Because you always need something.
Always.
So I prefer to start. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is the reason why I brought Paco on the podcast. He is so much filled with in-depth understanding of life. Even though he has his own way of thinking, which is sometimes funny to listen to him, but once you realize that no, there's so much sense in what he's saying. It's just that you are not willing to agree to the fact that this is what it is supposed to be like. But let's move on. Yeah. There's this one thing that is in line with what we are saying. But how do we, as young people, growing up, looking up to people, you are a father and you have been an adolescent and you know how it is like. How do we stop procrastinating as young people?
Well, like you said, something is funny, right? If you want to stop procrastinating, stop procrastinating. For me, it is really simple. So, like you in the example you gave, right? You're waiting for X, Y, Z before you start something. You will always wait. And, doing that never gets you anywhere, really. Yeah, I mean, there are things that we've wanted to do in life that we've never really been ready for, but then you have to you have to start. If you're serious about it, you're going to. But you need to understand procrastination in itself. sometimes people attribute procrastination to the person just not being motivated enough or something. But you can procrastinate out of maybe one that a lot of people would like to think of themselves, being overconfident, right? Oh, this thing, I need to move this from here to here. Oh, I can do it easily at any time, so I'll wait last minute.
I'll do it.
That's probably because there's no real structure behind your thinking, right? There's no real, let me do it. There's no real planning around it. If I do it and something goes wrong, how can I fix it and get the thing done? We need to be results-oriented. If you're results-oriented, you realize if I need an hour to do this, let me start doing it 3 hours before, just in case something goes wrong, I still get the result at the time I need the result. A second reason for people procrastinating is around fear, right? Fear that I may not be good enough at it. Fear that I will not be successful at this thing that I want to do.
What ifs?
So many things. Fear, thinking about all the things that could go wrong.
Yeah.
And so then that fear holds you back from just starting. Like, no, go ahead, do it. This is what you want to do. Fear.
What if it doesn't work?
It doesn't work. People will laugh at me. Yeah. One thing that I tell my friends, everybody in this world has problems. Everybody in this world has
the
problems.
richest man.
And everybody has things they worry about. You think that when you go and make a mistake or you fail at something, all eyes will be on you. Trust me, nobody has even noticed. Because everybody, you are dealing with there are issues that also people are dealing with. So sometimes you need to close your mind to society a bit. Yes, so what if I fail?
What if I win?
What if I win? If you fail, you dust yourself up. You're right back at it.
Try again.
Keep on trying. And that, if you're able to beat that fear, and usually in my case, I try to use a lot of logic to counter the doubts and fears that I have, right? Everybody has in these. I try to use a lot of logic. So yes, you look at one side, what if I fail? But the other side, what if I win? And even if I fail, it's not the end of the world. Please, what's the worst that can happen? For those of us who are Christians, this is how I think about things sometimes. The worst that can happen as a Christian is I will die. And even that, as a Christian, is that the worst thing that can happen? Because I believe in an afterlife. So really, I'm just transitioning. So
let me do it.
Do it. Yes, sometimes things will hold you back. You will not always be successful when you start. But do it. The worst thing that can happen to you, I think, is knowing that you had the opportunity, but you never tried.
Wow, that's a regret. No one that's a path no one wants to go.
But you never tried. Try and fail. Yeah, Charlie, I tried this thing. Charlie, no be. Cool.
Yeah,
it's all right. I mean, but you never had the opportunity.
That regret, that remorse is deadly.
Same way you see the nice girl, you never said anything to her, and she's gone. and it's like, I get chance.
I was just telling a friend of mine this afternoon that, is it the girl you want to move to? For your mind, she's having a boyfriend. Mm-hmm. She knows she's single. The only way you can find out is to
talk,
approach.
If you know be. I mean, it's that simple.
I think that's ladies and gentlemen, this is Time with the General. I am the General. I am your host. I always tell you, we are bringing you the finest podcast on self-growth, self-development, how to grow spiritually, physically, mentally, psychologically, all as part of a person's well-being and also the growth process. D. Smoke said, growth is an uncomfortable process. Pain is a necessary investment for progress. Whether you like it or yes, you go through that. But don't forget to share, like, and subscribe to our channel so that we'll be able to bring you more of this. Let's move on. Yeah. So there's this one thing. The reason why when we met, we were discussing what we should talk about. And The main reason why I wanted us to talk about this, that when you brought in, I was like, yeah, that's the best topic I was even willing, is the pressure of society, the societal pressure that comes with a man's expectation, what a person is expected to achieve at a particular age, at a particular stage of your life. You are at the age of 30, you are still living with your parents. You are at the age of 38, you are not married, you don't have things figured out. And society expects you that you should figure it out, whether you like it or yes. At the age of this, at the age of that, you should do this. How? No, as a person, I want you to speak, but how did you deal with it? We are young people growing. We want to deal with it. Some people commit suicide. The people who commit suicide, they don't talk much. So how have you dealt with things like this, the expectations of society?
Okay, so for me, I'd say I'll start off with how I was brought up. And I tell people all the time, the two people I have the most respect for in life, in general, and I mean, it doesn't matter who has come my way, then my parents, right? I owe everything I am to them in the way they brought me up. I tell people all the time, if I can speak my mind freely to my mom and my dad, there's nobody else that I won't tell you exactly what I'm thinking. I mean, of course, there's a respectful way to talk to people, and that will always be fundamental, right? But I will say what is bothering me.
Yeah.
So my parents kind of raised us, right? Not that there weren't expectations, there were expectations, but be comfortable in who you are. There wasn't a necessary, hey, you have to be here by this time, you have to do this. No. It was more of a gradual guidance. My mother is just telling me, from her, you are her child until you are 18, and from then on, it's just guidance. She's not going to ask you
that's a lie.
order you to do anything. It's just guidance. No. Actually, and when I think back to it, like all through my years in university, especially, it's like the conversations we were having was more not her telling me go and do this, go and do that. It's more of, okay, I think if you do it this way, these are the options.
That is something. Not to cut you, but that is something that most African child or African parents and their kids, as the child parent relationship is mostly not there, because sometimes we do a lot of mistakes in our part even before they are able to control us.
Yeah,
I don't know how we can navigate through this part. I don't want it to happen to my kids.
but then again, it is about learning, unlearning, and relearning, right? So that is all within your control. You need to be intentional about it. So coming back to, and same for my father, never really an authoritarian. You always, my dad, look, and I used to have this notion, you know, when you grow up in an environment, you think it is the same for everybody.
Yeah.
Till I started getting older and realized, actually, my relationship with my dad was very different from my
Other
friends' relationships with their dads. My dad used to talk to me. You know, we talk about all sorts of things. Right? There are things that, the stories that my dad has told me that you would think that the normal parents won't
tell their kids.
No, openly admitting, my parents both, openly admitting to me where they failed, things that they could have done better.
That's beautiful.
Letting me understand that we are human. We will not get everything right. We will fail. But the important thing is to get back on that horse, right? And so I never really had, let me, in the sense of the word, those societal pressures. Or I dealt with them in such a way that, look, what's my parents expecting from me? That is what is important to
enough.
Me. Anything else? Yeah, Daniel can have his expectations of me. My boss can have his expectations of me, right? But outside of work, in my own personal space, they're only, for me right now, they're only like 4 or 5 important people in my life. Like the rest of the world, really, like you can never please everybody.
Yeah.
So know what your limits are, right? So today, my wife, my son, my priorities. Am I disappointing them?
Wow.
If I'm not, I'm good. I have my own personal ambitions, things that I want to drive in, but these are the priorities. And at any point in time, if my time is over in this world, and I am able to leave knowing that I was there for my wife and my son, I'm good. The rest of society, yes, if the expectations of who I am or what I have achieved aligns with your expectations, hey, good. If not, well, you to go and give birth to Papa and do your own thing. That's how I've dealt with pressures all my life. Is, look, I cannot please everybody. Yes, there are acceptable things in life. There are things that you want to achieve, but I'm measuring against my own self. And so
that's beautiful. I listening to how you had a relationship with your father. My father is a great father. He really nurtured me well because of where I was born. If he hadn't been that strict, I might have gone wayward.
It's situational, yes.
I felt like more could have been done because it was very difficult for you to see me sitting with my dad having a chat. It was great when you have a chat with him. We laugh about things that we see while we are talking and all that. He will give you certain advices in an indirect way. But we feared our dad. Yo, man. We were frightened about. If you hear that he's coming,
typical African dad.
Yes. if you notice that my dad is coming, yo, bro, like everybody needs to find a place to sit quietly. So we talk under tone and all that. I feel like he did his part. Maybe because of even how he was trained. But I feel like sometimes let's our parents talk to us. That's the best. My mother going to SHS, warning, warning. If you do this. But I listened to just one advice from my mom. She said, remember where you're coming from and know where you're going. That was the advice up to now. Yeah. I always work with. But African parents will do.
Yeah, but look, I'm talking so flatteringly about my parents, right? I'm under no delusion that they were perfect.
Oh yeah. It's impossible.
It's the same way, we can blame our upbringing when our parents were also brought up. They didn't know everything, but I always take into consideration their intentions, which were made very clear to us. They were doing things to the best of their ability. And for that alone, I'm like, hey, whatever mistakes I may think they made at that point in time, it's null and void because I'm really appreciative of all the things that all the sacrifice, all the effort they put into raising us. So yeah. At
least you turn out to be a better man. So
yeah. The jury's still out, but yeah,
At least sometimes when I look back and I'm like, damn, my mom did a great job. Because at the end of the day, I am not wayward. At least I am not perfect, but I'm on the right track. So I'm really enjoying the conversation. I don't know about you, but I'm really learning so much. There is this stereotype about men that a man needs to be strong.
Yeah.
Even in our local dialect, they will tell you that a man is the one that swallows the hardest pill, or the one which is bitter.
Yep.
So sometimes men don't talk. Men don't talk about their feelings, but I'm not trying to limit it to men. Let's talk about a person in general.
Okay.
As an individual growing up, this podcast is about you. So as an individual growing up, how did you handle failure? How did you handle failure? People saying no to you, and how was it like? Like, these things are difficult conversations that even people in Africa, we don't go for therapy. for therapy. They are necessary.
No, we don't. Unfortunately, we don't.
The moment the people see you going for therapy means that you have mental issue. But it is the best thing one can do to sort therapy. But thank God we are giving you therapy. So
yeah. So how do you handle failure? I want to say, first off, as one person who dealt really badly with rejection, I can't take rejection, right? But life is life. So you'll be rejected multiple times.
It is what it is.
But look, from a young age, again, which I go back to my parents. I don't want to make this all about parents and parenting and whatnot. Let me give you an example, a personal example, which, please forgive me. Somebody may say I'm a little stuck up or something. Right? In JSS, writing BEC, I was one of those intelligent kids, right?
Very intelligent, even till now.
So going to write BEC, I did my best. I thought. Then it was out of BEC is 10 ones. So out of 10, I got 9. I was so pissed at myself, Lord.
9 ones.
Yes. I was so, which is part of the reason that today I'm able to tell my son, like, do your best, leave it all out there. The results are the results, right? We'll deal with it, whatever comes. But knowing that you did your best is the
best feeling.
I never felt like I did my best. Because you can ask anybody who went to school with me, JSS, secondary school, university. I'm one of those people that you would beg to flunk out of school, right? Because I never looked like I was really serious about school.
Yeah.
I later found out why I was like that, but that's a story for another day.
Yeah.
But when the results came and I hadn't aced everything, I was so mad at myself. I remember my mother, it's like, oh, you've done really well. And I'm, you're not happy, so Akola, why are you worried? You've done your best. And I said, no, I don't think I did my best. But in life, you will not always get, the results will not always be what you want them to be. And that is not the end of the world. These are the things that are important in life, right? Your family, your relationships, and it is not the end of the world. If you had gotten 0, you would go back and write again until you
make up for it.
There's nothing wrong with it. The best way to deal with failure, again, is to reassess, reevaluate, and reapply yourself fully. And this is in JSS. Yeah, but I was a child, so I went back to secondary school. The same things again. Again, I was not happy with my aggregate 10 that I got in secondary school. It's like, because when it comes to, I think, pure IQ, right? In my mind, I compare with some of the
creme de la creme.
Yeah, some of the best. There's also, of course, I'm biased towards myself, so hey. But I always felt like, I couldn't do better.
Could do better.
University,
the same thing.
University, it was even worse. Because now the distractions were
more.
But all through it, it's like, you fail at something. That message always, get back up and reapply. Okay. Get back up and reapply yourself. Get back up and reapply yourself. And so it's kind of guided me throughout, even in my work life. I mean, it's not like I've been uber successful at everything I've done, right? There have been points in time where it's like,
you're stuck.
Man, you could have done better at this. There are things that if you allow failure to control your life, it can throw you off completely. But thankfully, I had that message early enough. And so I've been able to, again, once you fail, and I don't blame, honestly, I think maybe that's another thing that's helped. I've never blamed anybody else or something else for
you take responsibility.
I take responsibility for it. And so it allows me to then reevaluate what it is, what could I have done better, and then get back at it, right? Like my favorite saying, get back on that horse. Because the road to success is littered with a lot of failure. And the cliche is you don't really fail, right? You just find out ways of how not to do something. So yeah, then you move on.
That's it.
Yeah.
When you have analogies like this, or you have things that's are like hacks in your life, it means that you can go through life anyway. I tell people that the fact that I can handle certain things doesn't mean that it's easy for other people to handle.
Exactly.
But sometimes when you hear things like this, that's shaping your life, things that put you through in a position where you are always standing firm.
Yeah.
Because the failures, whether you like it or yes, you will fail. We were just talking about the fact that I'll set up all the equipment, everything. And then, after the show, he said, "Boss, the audio not come. The interviewer just the person I'm interviewing just left.
Battery as is."
And then I asked God that, God, why? Yeah, you see, sometimes you can prepare so much, like you are so much ready for it, and you still fail. Yeah. It's not like you are too hardworking. So no, you will still fail. It's something that comes with it. So I tell people that psych your mind that it is part of the process, so that when you fail, it doesn't break you.
Yeah.
Someone failed once,
and that was it,
and never got back up. So I saw my father battle with some kind of depression and all that, and I realized that no, it is not easy, but you have to put yourself in a perspective where I want us. This is the first time I've seen Paco talking with a soft voice and getting all emotional. We will talk about that one, but but that is speaking from things that has happened and how it made him feel. So yes, we understand that one. Let's time is fast spent. So what does this is kind of personal. What does family mean to you?
Family. Simple, short, everything. Right. You've met my son.
Yeah.
Before you've seen my wife.
Yeah.
Mm-mm. Every day I wake up, because it's not like I'm over enthused to be working. If I had the opportunity, I'd be.
You stay in the house.
I'd be staying in the house. I'd be on the beach in Maldives, relaxing.
Chilling.
Of course, you need to work. You need money to get there. So, but one thing that drives me, right, is raising my son right and being there for my family, because they are the most important people to me.
Priority one on the list.
Always. Beyond them, my extended family as well, right? On my mother's side, on my wife's family side, all these people are very dear to me. In fact, I tell my son all the time that my favorite person is my little nephew. He's 4 years, turning 5 this year. He's my little nephew. Like every time you see us, we are together, right? Because I love family, right? It is everything. And the thing I have a saying with my son, right? Live, love, laugh.
Live, love, laugh. I think we can do something with this. Yeah. Live, love, laugh. Okay, that's beautiful.
So far as you have life, you have love from your family, and you're able to laugh, you have no worries at all in life. Nothing else is important. And then that's what I teach him and talk to him about every day, right? And it's because, look, what drives me is, I think that the most successful I'll be in life is seeing my son grow up, being a responsible gentleman, useful member of society. And I would know that, yes, I've
done
really
your part.
done what I came to do. I have personal ambitions. I want to be, in the top, at the topmost level of corporate. I want to do, but at this point in time, my priority is my son. Maybe in a few years' time, when he gets to secondary school, and when you get to the teenage years where you don't want to be seen too much with your dad, and your dad is cramping your style. So maybe then I'll have a bit more time to. But for now, he's my priority, and knowing that I'm able to be there for him every day
is enough.
So family is everything.
That's beautiful. I've had my fair share of family, but my mom is the best thing that ever happened to me. My mom. I don't even tell her much that maybe I love her. I remember one time I was coming to work. I just got up from my room and I just hugged her and I left. And she was asking me, do you need something? Do you want me to give you something? Do you need money? It doesn't happen.
You grew up in an African home. Wait, what is this?
It doesn't happen where you hug your mom. And literally when I was leaving, I was crying. I was in tears. I was just shedding tears. So while she was calling me, I was just waving at her.
You don't want her to.
I don't want her to do that. The African perspective, man. But sometimes when I because of the things my mom has done for me, I was the first person she took to SHS. She never took anybody else. None of my sisters. She doesn't have time. Because the day you'll be going, she will not have time. And it was always my dad. But one time my dad traveled. During my time, my dad traveled. She took me there. She got hurt on her way.
Oh.
And it was her knee. And she was in white. So while we got to the school, she just looked at me and she was like, son, anytime you want to mess things up, you want to do things that will go against your value, or you want to mess up your life, just remember this blood. And it has always been with me. So family, I don't know whatever has happened to you with family.
I hope you all heard Daniel confirming that he was a problem child. He's always been a problem child. Right?
I know he wants to get me on the fact that he's been emotional on the show, but family is everything. No matter what it is like. I don't know what
no two ways about that.
Family, everybody needs somebody, whether you like it or yes.
Yeah.
And I think this is where we will bring our interview, our discussion, end of it. But I want to ask, in one sentence, if you were to make a rule in life, what would be that rule?
Never change for anybody. So let me, because that sounds kind of some way, right? So let me say what I mean. Anybody who's worked with me, knows that I have a way of making things seem easy, right? I'm one of those people. You even in school, you never see me learn, right? Never see me studying, or even like when I used to play sports, football, basketball. You'd never see me practice.
Train, yeah.
But I'm one of those people who kind of grinds in the dark.
Yeah,
right?
Nobody sees it there.
So when things come to light, it's like, this guy,
no,
they train, no, they do it. And I like making things look easy, like, So even at work, right? If I leave work, sometimes you walk around at work, you think, this guy, everything is simple. Like the things that I need to do to improve, you never see me do at work. I remember one time I was given a special project to do, and I spent the 6 Saturdays in the office alone. Get up in the morning, early in the morning, move to the office in my space alone, trying to figure out,
what to do,
how to do it, and produced when the rest of the people just see me. Nobody knows. But sometimes what that does is give people a wrong impression of you. Right. And because naturally people want to see, this guy is serious.
He's doing it.
This guy is here. He's putting in effort. And when they don't see that, you can't blame them. It's like they're a little doubtful. Yeah, is he doing the best he can? You know. So it's caused some problems for me.
Yeah.
But this is who I am.
And
And this is who I have chosen
to be.
Right? And despite the problems and despite people having misconceptions, and I know, right? And sometimes I talk to people and they say certain things and I laugh. Like, yeah, I've decided that this is who I am, and that's how I've chosen to live my life. So I will not allow somebody else's erroneous impression of me to force me to change who I am. I will always be that guy who takes responsibility.
Yeah.
That guy who has his values cemented. And how I appear to you will always be your issue, never mine. So yeah, that's the one rule I have in my life.
I think
right?
this is a very important rule where you don't let people know your next move and all that. Eye service. When I was in JHS, that was when my teacher, Mr. Kwe, he said he preached about Wednesday service. He preached about eye service. And that thing has been with me, where you want everybody to see, say, I am doing it. No, I don't believe in that. Sometimes my mom will be saying, hey, you've not done it. I know I've done it. I've given my sisters money to, maybe while they were in school, they call me, I'll send them money. Hey, when your sister went to school, I'll just be looking at my sister. You talk about it, that's your end. You're not getting anything again. So keep quiet. But ladies and gentlemen, this has been one of the best conversations I've had. I might be the one hosting it, but I've learned a lot. It's made me wrap my head around it a lot of times. And thank you so much for coming through for me, even though it's been back and forth. It's been like almost 2 years.
Stress. never planning anything properly. Man.
It's been like almost 2 years, but
all right.
Charlie, thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you for having me, finally.
Yeah, finally. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for always being with us. It's been a journey, quite a journey. And on this conversation or on this podcast, I have learned a lot. I hope you've also learned so much. So what you are going to do for me is you subscribe, you share to your friends. Somebody needs to hear this. And you comment on it. Let me know what you think on this podcast. Thank you so much. My name is The General, and I had my guest here, Paco, and Papa Akun. We like to call him Paco, and an amazing crew, whoever helped in shooting the video and the setup. Thank you so much, Naftali, for being there, and also my guy.
Why you calling him Naftali? The guy says he's called Black.
Black is the one behind the cameras. And thank you so much for always being with us. I appreciate you, and we'll see till next time. Bye bye.